This is Faculty Focus from Fairleigh Dickinson University. This episode features Dr. Roger Koppl, Professor of Economics and Finance in the Silberman College of Business and Director of the Institute for Forensic Science Administration. Dr. Koppl's primary research area is the study of how error rates in forensic science may be affected by the ways in which labs and procedures are managed.
So bias means that the forensic scientists look at the evidence with a prejudged point of view, sometimes only unconsciously, but still a prejudged point of view that may cause them to get the wrong answer, to make a mistake. They try to be honest, they try to be unbiased, but if you have information about the police suspect or the nature of the crime, or if you work for the police, you may not be able to prevent yourself from looking at the evidence from that point of view instead of the unbiased scientific view that we prefer. If the police send a crime lab evidence, the chance that another crime lab is ever going to look at that evidence is quite low. So in that sense, they have a monopoly on the analysis or evaluation of that evidence, the examination of that evidence. At the same time, and as a consequence of that, the same crime lab has typically a monopoly on the interpretation of that evidence. What does it mean? We did this test, we got that result, what does it mean? Well, in research science, we have many independent labs looking at the same evidence, many independent labs interpreting the evidence we have. In forensic science, it's one lab. That's a kind of monopoly. So the business disciplines perspective tells us, well, monopoly probably give you a bad result. At least in the case of forensic science, that means it's going to give you more errors than you need to have. The I.F.S.A. is the Institute for Forensic Science Administration. So by forensic science administration, we mean the study of how organization influences the chance of error in scientific analysis. I tried to find out, well, is this idea of mine of redundancy going to cost too much to be worth it? I'm an economist. I have to think about costs and benefits. And I found out that not only does it not cost very much, it indeed saves money to have redundancy. It reduces the cost of administering the criminal justice system to have redundant fingerprint examinations. So I imagined that we'd have 3 independent fingerprint examinations for every felony case going to trial in which there was fingerprint evidence to examine. And this was my finding, that we would reduce errors so much, and errors are so costly, that it would more than pay for itself to do this. You see, it's very expensive to send somebody to prison. So a forensic science error is expensive. A fingerprint examination, by comparison, is cheap. Forensic science is a bargain for the criminal justice system, and we need more of it. We have a Sixth Amendment right to a fair trial. You have a right to an attorney in order to, mount a vigorous defense for you, the defendant. Well, that's very important. We think without that, we may have false convictions. We may be sending the wrong person to jail. Today, forensic scientists are often more important than jurists in the courtroom. Okay? So in that environment, it only makes sense that a similar right to forensic counsel, or rather forensic expertise, should be enjoyed by the defendant. And it should work the same way as your right to counsel. If you can afford your own counsel, terrific. Then that's your responsibility. But if the court judges you unable to afford an attorney, one is provided for you. And the same thing exactly should be done with regard to forensic expertise.